continuing education, continuing education director at NASW New Jersey. So we are holding our first in-person conference since the pandemic, April 30th to May 2nd at Resorts Casino and Hotel in Atlantic City. And one of our presenters and very good friend of the chapter has agreed to come and chat with us very quickly. Dr. Letitia Gasby. She is the epitome of academic, philanthropic, and social service excellence. In fact, Letitia, I was reading your bio before we went on air, and it would take me 15 minutes to share all the great stuff that you've done. But she has a TEDx talk coming up in May 2023. She's been featured in the New York Times, Washington Post, Huffington Post, NBC4. She was also last year our emerging social work leader for the chapter, even though I know you've been around for quite a while. But Letitia is presenting 2 workshops at conference, and the one we're going to talk about today will be held on Monday, May 1st, and it's called Understanding Racial Trauma. Can you tell us a little bit about it, Letitia?
First, Helen, I just want to thank you so much, and hello to everyone in Facebook land. Hello to all the NASW New Jersey members. I love this chapter. I love the members so much. And so it is my pleasure and my honor to be able to present at the first in-person conference since the pandemic. My last time presenting in person was 2019, right prior to the pandemic. So this is just definitely a full circle moment for me, just to think about presenting. And thinking about racial trauma, Helen, I was first so excited to introduce this topic because I really feel that social workers are uniquely positioned to manage the feelings that our clients, our families, our communities, our organizations face as it results to racial trauma. I think that COVID-19 and the televised murder of George Floyd really brought to the forefront some issues that had been already occurring, right, throughout the country, already occurring internationally. But because of the pause that was COVID-19, we had no choice but to be connected to what was going on. And if you notice, we really had many more incidents like that that were also televised, that were also on social media. And so just as we have had our own just responses to seeing this, most recently the Tyree Nichols case, right? So we as professional social workers have our own feelings and our own thoughts about this, but so do our clients, so do the families we serve, so do the communities we serve. So as social workers, we have to really adopt first an anti-racist perspective to the work. So my presentation will be how to be anti-racist as a social worker, how to process racial trauma, and then how to work with our client populations on managing their own racial trauma. So that's a mouthful. In May, COVID-19 is, people had signs in front of their homes for all the healthcare heroes, etc. But what I want to say is that as social workers, we are also heroes, right? And so I first want to have an opportunity for us to really process and discuss briefly just how traumatizing and how impacting all of these issues that we just spoke about have been for us. Because I don't know as social workers if there's any space for that for us oftentimes. We're the ones on that side of the couch or that side of the room or that side of the class, right? Where we're constantly pouring out. So my first order of business is to be able to pour into the social workers and to thank them for being able to do this work in this climate, for being willing and brave enough and courageous enough to discuss these issues with their families, with their clients, with their colleagues in a way that is really a connective way, because I think that sometimes these issues can be broad stroked, right? Like, we know there are racial tensions in America. We know that these issues happen. And it's like, okay, I did march, or I did donate, or I did post, or I did make my social media Black. I did support. But I want to be able to give the social workers in the room some strategies to take away how to have these discussions, right? What do you do if you're a practitioner that, you're dealing with the client or dealing with the family, and they're saying, like, I'm dealing with racial trauma? How do we conceptualize and understand what that means, right? For people of color throughout the United States, and even for our white allies, right? To understand, so that there can be a comfort level. Oftentimes we avoid subjects like this, and we don't do that deep dive, Helen. So my thought is to be able to do that deep dive, not as deep as I would like, because it's only 2 hours. This is something I need 2 weeks to do.
All
But
right.
I want to do as deep of a dive as I can in 2 hours.
Wow, that's incredible. The theme of the conference is basically, how do we bridge the micro macro divide? And I think your session really will underline that stuff, because you are talking micro, but we need systems change, right? And
Yes.
social workers are change agents in their communities, so they are well positioned to help create that.
I love what you said about that, Helen. And I think I was intrigued. So if all of our guests on Facebook have not registered yet, please register for the conference ASAP, because we have to connect the work that we do. I think so often as social workers, we can work in silo. So it's like, you know what? Hey, I work at the micro level, or I work at the meso level, or I work at the macro level, and everyone is in their corners. But when you think about racial trauma, it impacts all those levels of the work that we do, right? So whether it's organizationally, whether it's in the community, the state level, even the federal level, whether it's at, an intermediate level organization, like NASW New Jersey, right? Or whether it's in your own private practice, or at your own organization, one-on-one in a closed door room with a client, right? Racial trauma impacts all of these systems all the time, right? It's so interesting, because I was speaking with a colleague yesterday, and she talked about how she wants to talk with her clients about microaggressions and processing their feelings, but the partners at her mental health agency aren't comfortable with doing that. Right. So so that's why I was so specific about naming the topic, understanding racial trauma, right? Because I think it's also important, Helen, that I point this out. We all have to understand this phenomenon, right? This is not just for BIPOC folks, right? This is for all of us. We're all united as it relates to our understanding of what it feels like to experience these things. We have normalized, Helen, seeing some of these incidents, and it's almost like a numbness that I feel has started to permeate society. I think about a friend of mine, Helen, and she said, "Oh, did you hear about the police shooting?" And my honest response, and it was an immediate response, was, "Which one?" Right? Like, and it's like, okay, did you hear about that discrimination piece, or how these people face this in this state or this part of the country? It's everywhere. So I want us to understand racial trauma, to be able to put some definitions in place, and then to get to how we can do our work, no matter where we are in the continuum of social work, how we can do work to undo the racial trauma and harm that we all have experienced.
Brilliant. I can't wait. There's over 33,000 licensed social workers in New Jersey. And I often think, if we came together as a collective force, what we could achieve, right?
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that number, but that even speaks volumes as to the importance of attending conferences like this. What I will say to everyone listening is, again, if you have not registered, and this is not a PSA, no one asked me to say this, right? So this is literally from my heart, right? But if you haven't registered, register, share with your colleagues as well. The only way we can grow as practitioners, as clinicians, as administrators, as social workers is if we are together. We are united, and we can have a stronger voice when we are collaborative, right? So it's so important that we raise our voices. Our power is in our unity.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. As Dr. Letitia says, if you've not registered, get yourself to naswnewjersey.org. Early bird rates are available until the 28th of February. We kept 2019 rates for 2023. Yeah, because
Yes.
it's tough out there, right? It's tough out there. So
Yes.
we will hear from some great presenters, not just Dr. Letitia, but we're going to have a 20s party,
Oh, I love
1920s
that.
party.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm gonna get
because
my flapper dress, okay?
right, right. So social workers are fun and we deserve to laugh, right?
Yes, we do.
So
Yes,
we're dealing with some
absolutely.
serious stuff. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr.
Oh,
Letitia. You're
thank you, Helen.
amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, it's so great to just have friends with the NASW New Jersey chapter like you. And I just honor you and the work that you and the entire team does. Jeff, Jen, and every name that I didn't, name, just everyone that devotes their time just to ensuring that we are supported as social workers here in New Jersey, to ensure that we are constantly giving topics and opportunities to learn and grow and stretch our skills. So I can't wait to see you, and I can't wait to see all of you, and make sure you register ASAP. I'm actually going to do my registration as soon as we're done with this call.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. See you at conference.
Bye, everybody.